Okay, synthetic division. The first thing I notice that this is a -2. That means I'm going to be dividing by a +2, so I add instead of subtract. So 2. Now I look at the coefficients. I have x cubed, x squared, x, and 11. Everybody's accounted for because as I drop the variable part of this, essentially the position tells you what power is attached to that number. And that's why it's so important that everything all lines up. So this gives you a 5, a -6, a 3, and an 11. And then remember, this represents the coefficients of x cubed, x squared, x, and then that's the constant. So I bring down the 5, and you're going to say, well, why? Because I would say to myself, what do I multiply x by to get 5x cubed? You'd say 5x squared. So that's this 5. That's why, by the way, the coefficient on x has to be 1, because the numbers then are pure. And then 2 times 5 is 10, and now add. And then 2 times 4 is 8, and then add. 2 times 11 is 22, and add. And then what do we know? This is the remainder. Always start from left to right. This is the constant. This is the coefficient of x. This is the coefficient of x squared. So my answer would be 5x squared plus 4x plus 11 with a remainder of 33. That's what's so convenient about writing your answer in that format. Whoops, I'm sorry. Got a little bit big, I think. It's lovely. It's like, yippee. Not yippee? Yes.
Wait, when you change that to a +2, do we always, so if it's a negative, we're going to use the synthetic?
When negative, you change it to a positive. When it's a positive, you change it to a negative.
Okay.
And that's so you don't have to change the sign anymore. It was something like you were talking a little bit about yesterday.
Right.
But synthetic handles it. Okay, so here we go. I first make sure everybody's accounted for. 5, x to the 5, x to the 4, x to the, what's missing? X to the 3. So I need to put a placeholder in there. X to the 2, x to the 1, constant. So now I kind of know how everybody's going to line up. And this is a -3, so I'm going to use a +3. 1, x to the 5th, -4, x to the 4th, 0, x to the 3, -3, x to the 2, 2, x to the 1, and 3. Now remember, these are all the coefficients. This is the coefficient of x to the 5th. This is a coefficient of x to the 4th. This is a coefficient of x to the 3, x to the 2, x to the 1, and constant. So that is the representation of my original polynomial. So I bring down the 1. What do I multiply x by to get x to the 5th? It would be 1 times x to the 4th. So then 3 times 1 is 3, and add. 3 times -1 is -3, and add. 3 times -3 is -9, and add. 3 times -12 is -36, and add. 3 times negative 34, now it's going to be a big number for me, so that's going to be a 12, 102, I hope, negative. And then, and add, I end up with a negative 99. Occurs. Now, remember, this is the remainder. This is the constant. This is the coefficient of x. This is the coefficient of x squared. This is a coefficient of x cubed. This is a coefficient of x to the fourth. So if I go from left to right, I can't be wrong, at least with my powers. So this says my answer is x to the fourth minus x to the 3 minus 3x to the 2 minus 12x minus 34 with a remainder of negative 99.